excited. Well, how's everyone doing? I'm super excited to be back up here and just to share with y'all a little bit about my work and why digital citizenship is so important to me. So as I was introduced, my name is Sanah Jivani, and I'm the founder and CEO of a nonprofit organization called the Love Your Natural Self Foundation. Today, I'm going to tell you the story about how when I was 15 years old, I started a movement that ended up in 28 different countries. But it wasn't something that happened overnight. It took a lot of progress and work. So it starts when I was 3. That's me when I was a baby. I know. But I remember just being the happiest kid, just always running around, always playing. And one of my first memories ever is my mom sitting me on the counter, doing my hair, and finding a bald patch about the size of a quarter. And I remember she gasped and started crying and called my siblings into the room because I'm the youngest of 5 kids and she had never seen anything like it. And from that moment, I knew something was different about me. I didn't know what, and I couldn't exactly put it into words, but I knew there was something off. Thankfully, I only had a condition called alopecia areata, so my hair would grow back pretty quickly. But it was something I always had to deal with growing up, and I never knew how it would affect me beyond that. Then I got to the 7th grade. As most of you know, middle school is the time where you are most self-conscious about who you are. You are just going through it. I don't think I've met anybody who tells me, like, middle school was the best year of my life, right? Middle school is that time where you're just so self-conscious, everybody's self-conscious about who they are, and it's a really, really tough patch to get through. And so I remember being in the middle of 7th grade, spring break was about to start. I went home that Friday. I was so excited for an awesome spring break. I had all these plans, and I went to bed that Friday night, and Saturday morning I woke up and all of my hair was on my pillow. And it was heartbreaking. I truly watched my hair fall out strand by strand. I remember that morning running my hands through my hair and getting huge clumps out and just shaking because I was terrified. I didn't know what was happening. I had a little flip phone back then, and I remember I grabbed it from my bedside table and I called my mom. And I said, "Mom, you need to go get me a wig." And she said, "Why are you calling me? I'm right downstairs." And I said, "I'm calling you because you need to slide it under my door and not look at me. Because if you look at me, you won't love me anymore. I know that because I looked at myself and I don't love myself anymore." And that is exactly how I felt that morning. My mom went to the store. Somehow she found the sketchy Halloween store open year-round. I don't ask questions. I was really grateful to even have a wig. But she went to the store and she found this wig that was red, not my natural hair color. So I immediately, put that on, and pretty much that whole week stayed in my room, just afraid to go to school that Monday. The anticipation was just building up. There are some pictures from middle school. Thankfully, I got some better wigs. But the bullying was endless. I remember walking into school that first day, and it felt like all eyes were on me. You know that feeling where you walk into somewhere and you just know everyone's staring, you just know, and you just know everyone's whispering about you. That's how I felt that day. And I remember I logged into social media that night and had a notification from a page called the Sanah Jivani Burn page. And it was literally a page created to guess the different reasons I was wearing a wig. And at that moment, I saw how dangerous and how scary and how heartbreaking technology can be. Through all that, though, I realized something. People said mean things to me, but the things I said to myself were still somehow worse. I realized that if you take low self-esteem and you combine it with bullying, you get this behavior called self-bullying. You begin to bully yourself. And technology can honestly, in a lot of ways, generate a lot of self-bullying. How many times have you been on the internet and thought to yourself, everyone is doing better than me, everyone has the best life ever, and I am just miserable here on my own? Or I will never be that happy. Look how happy these people are. Look how much fun everyone's having. Or I don't belong. I'm so alone. Everyone has so many friends. Everyone's out there doing so much. This is something I struggled with then, but it's still something I struggle with today. I remember moving to college when I got into undergrad, And it looked like everyone was having the time of their life at college. I looked at it and I was like, wow, all my friends are really adjusting. No one's homesick. I'm just sitting in my dorm by myself, like eating Cheez-Its and like watching TV and crying. And then I got home and I tried to talk to my friends about what I was going through, but I felt this barrier because I was scared that they wouldn't understand. But immediately they told me, like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I'm going through. And I said, but it looks like you're having so much fun. And they told me, but it looks like you're having so much fun, right? So it's crazy. It can create this self-bullying. It can create these barriers. How many times have you said something negative to yourself? And when is it going to stop? And thankfully, I asked myself that question. I asked myself, when is this going to stop? When will you stop bullying yourself? And I got the courage to sit at home. It was when I was in 9th grade, so I lost my hair 7th grade. And in the 9th grade, right before I started high school, I knew I wanted to change something. I knew something had to change. So I sat in front of my laptop and on a website called Facebook, made a video, started recording, and just pulled off my wig. And I said, this is who I am. Take it or leave it. And I found this beautiful feeling called freedom. Thank you. Thank you. It was unlike anything I had ever experienced before. I felt like a princess, and it sounds dramatic, but I swear for the first time it was like the sun had started shining again and the birds started chirping. Like, I felt like I walked outside and there was a soundtrack to my life. That's how happy I was. And I just thought to myself, there must be other people going through this. And I realized that there were, because the minute I posted my video, the comments started rolling in. Because you went without your wig, I'm inspired to leave an abusive relationship. I'm inspired to open up about my self-harm. I have depression and I felt all alone before this. I'm also being bullied. The comments made me realize that I wasn't alone. I was never really alone this whole time that I felt so alone. So I had an idea. I thought to myself, what if there was a day on the calendar? A day that we could just celebrate who we are, accept ourselves, find self-love. A day that if we're struggling with something, we can ask for help. A day that we can focus on connecting with others versus feeling disconnected. And I thought about all the days on the calendar and how we have Mother's Day and Father's Day and Friendship Day, but we don't really have a day for self-love and mental health. And I thought, what if there was an international day of self-love? And I thought about all the days, and I said to myself, February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day, because you have to love and accept yourself before others. So I started a hashtag. I started posting about this. I started making videos. I started telling people at my high school. I started making posters. And this happened. The International Day of Self-Love took place for the first time in 2011. And it trended in my hometown. There were hundreds of posts. People truly started being who they are. And for the first time, I realized that technology can be a vehicle to connect people. It can be the safe space where we find community for the first time, as so many people shared today. This movement eventually developed into my nonprofit called the Love Your Natural Self Foundation. We host empowerment sessions. I speak at schools and do assemblies. So far, I've been to 150 schools, and we've raised $50,000 for self-love initiatives. Thank you. So technology has the power to make us feel extremely alone and disconnected. I cannot tell you how alone I felt that day looking through that burn page, reading the guesses of why I was wearing a wig. Maybe she just wants a boy to like her. Maybe it's because she didn't have any friends and she finally wants someone to notice her. She's probably doing it for attention. It's probably because she wanted to be prettier. The countless theories, the comments. Or it can be the thing that makes us feel more connected than ever. That magical day that I shared that video changed my life. So I want to share a poem I wrote with y'all that really encompasses, I think, this message and how I feel about the power of just sharing all of who you are. Don't you wish it weren't true that there are hidden parts of you, pieces barely held together by the smallest bits of glue? You try to show strength by acting brand new. You act like everything's always okay. You push every bit of darkness away. You don't share what you truly feel. Social media is simply your highlight reel. When it comes to joy, you always speak out. You speak without any fear or doubt. You speak out loud for others to see because you think, these are the pretty parts of me. But inside, you know what's true. Joy doesn't always define you. You know that you are so much more, and inside of you, there's sometimes a war. There's a war that has put cracks into who you are. There's a war that has given you scars. But you are enough. Don't you know it's these very scars that make you so tough? It's these cracks in who you are that let out light. It's these cracks in who you are that give you fight. It's these cracks in who you are that help you shine bright. And I believe these cracks should be displayed in plain sight. So don't try to hide the pain and the tears. Don't try to hide your deepest fears. Don't try to hide all of the emotion. Your depth and beauty is larger than the ocean. And it's this depth and beauty that people want to see. It's this depth and beauty that make you into who you want to be. It's not darkness that comes from who you are. It's a light that shines brighter than the stars. These cracks in who you are let out light, a light that reminds people to fight. It's a light that through the darkness guides people home because they're reminded they're not alone. And when people see your light, theirs will turn on too, and they'll feel brave enough to share the things that they go through. This cycle will just create more light, and through the darkness, the world can fight. When you choose to embrace who you are, your light slowly heals others' scars. So I know it's often hard to see, but it's these hidden parts of you that carry the most beauty. Thank you. So I wrote that when I felt absolutely defeated, but I remembered that the thing that I used to hide the most about myself ended up being what could connect me with others. To me, a part of digital citizenship means showing up. Showing up first as all of who you are. How can you be your full self and create that space for others, but then showing up to help other people? Start by making peace with yourself and then bring peace to the world. This Thursday is the International Day of Self-Love. I'm so excited to be here to get to tell y'all about it. It's going to be celebrated this year in 150 schools in 28 countries is what we reached with the hashtag last year. So I'm asking, how will you show up this year? Thank you, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you.